All right, guys, it's Alex at Saltwater Fly Shop. Today we're going to talk about the TFO Mangrove Coast. This happens to be the 7 weight, but these rods are available in 6 through 12 weight. All of them come with a full Wells grip. All of them come with a fighting butt, and all of them come with a price of $329.95. And let's talk about some features of this rod. So, start at the bottom. Like I said, all of the models 6 through 12 have a fighting butt. Obviously, the fighting butt gets bigger as the rod weight gets bigger, but has a full aluminum up and locking reel seat. One of the cool things about this reel seat is they've machined like little hook keepers into the reel seat, so you're not having to worry about putting your fly on, on your guide or like digging the hook into the cork. Full Wells cork grip, and then they have a cool like cork ID, line ID. So the big is a 5, like stands for 5, and then each smaller line is 1. So this is 5 plus 1 plus 1, which is 5 plus 2. So children, it is 7. So this is a 7 weight. So if it was an 8 weight, it'd have another line. If it was a 9 weight, it'd have another line. So so if you have multiples of these, then you can easily look down and you can see what weight the rod is. So like I said, full Wells cork grip, really nice feeling grip too. It's a good size. It's not too big, it's not too small. And this rod, from whether it's from the fighting butt all the way up through the blank, like we'll talk about, or the guides, this rod is made for a huge number of anglers. So whether you're just starting, whether you're an intermediate and pretty skilled fly fisherman, this rod's gonna meet and do most of everything that you need a rod to do, and in the salt. So move up into the blank. So TFO describes this, and we'll cast this rod in a little bit, but TFO describes this as a moderate fast action rod. So not the fastest rod, not the slowest rod by any means, but like I said, it is made to fit a wide range of anglers and a wide range of scenarios. So if you only have one setup, this rod is made so that you can have one setup that does everything that you need it to. So what they have on here is they have put saltwater safe Fuji stripping guides on here, and then they have a chrominium, is what they say, chrominium stainless steel snake guides up here. So you got your 2 stripping guides, and then you got your snake guides up here. This rod is 9 foot, 4 pieces. One of the really cool things about this rod at $330 is it comes with a rod sock and a hard tube. A lot of times it's saved only for the higher end stuff, but it's a real cool deep blue blank with gold lettering and artwork on it. And this rod is just the new version of the old TFO Mangrove that was designed by Flip Pallot, and Flip definitely had his hand in the improvements and some of the new features of this Mangrove Coast. So we're gonna go cast this rod, and then we'll talk about how it performs. All right, so we're out here on the water. We got an 8 weight. Water's super clear, pretty calm conditions, so we're throwing the Cortland tarpon taper clear. All right, so one of the first things that you kind of realize and feel about this rod is it's gonna be a really nice all-around rod. I really feel like I can put this thing down at 35, 40, 50 feet, or even shorter, if I was to see something super close to me. Probably won't get those shots today just with how clear the water is, but the other thing that I really like and notice about this rod though is it doesn't feel like once I get a lot of line out of the tip, like I'm gonna have any issues with losing my cast. It still feels like it has plenty of power to be able to get out there 60, 70, even 80 feet if needed, especially with this wind that's at my back a little bit. It really does feel nice, and I will say that for the price, this rod, it really does everything that you could want, a more budget-friendly 8 weight to do. So let's talk about line pickup for a second. I got about 20, 25 feet of line out, weighted redfish fly, and I can pick it up pretty easy, 2 false casts, and be right back out there, 45 or 50 feet, no problem. And it's one of those that you really could power it. Now this is where this rod will show that it is a budget rod a little bit. If you do try and power it a little bit more, it doesn't have the same recovery
as maybe a more high-end rod would, and I think that's where it's really gonna show the difference. But if you're somebody that's really throwing, you know, from 60 feet and in, this rod is going to do 90% of what you need it to do. I feel like I could throw a topwater, like a gurgler fly or a little popper with this. I also feel like I could throw a fly that was much heavier than the fly I'm throwing right now. And the other nice thing about this rod is it's gonna pair well with a lot of different lines. So right now I have a Cortland tarpon taper, which is gonna be a little bit, you know, a little bit heavier on the front, but similar to a bonefish line, to where I'm gonna be able to carry some line and you know, get it out there pretty good. But with a redfish line, if you were waiting and had short shots or were in dirtier water and couldn't see the fish until you were closer to them, this line's gonna be able to, you know, load quick and turn over a big fly pretty easily. The really nice thing about this rod is it's a lot nicer than a lot of rods that are $600 or $500 out there. And I will say that in the $300 price point, this is probably the nicest rod that I've felt, that I've thrown, and that I've fished. And you really could save a lot of money and get yourself a couple setups to do some things instead of maybe just one, you know, real high-end expensive setup. So closing statements, closing thoughts on this rod. I'm gonna say something pretty radical and out there. This might be the nicest rod that we have under $500. And even though it's only $300, I think it outperforms its price class by about 200 bucks. And I really think that this is going to be probably the best bang for your buck fly rod that's under that $500 price point. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, come throw the rod at the shop. Let us know what you think. If you have a Mangrove Coast, let us know. If you don't like the Mangrove Coast, or if you love the Mangrove Coast, leave your comments, or what do you think is the best, you know, saltwater fly rod for under 300 bucks.